Hey everyone, before we get started with the main session of risk management where we go towards the overview of the content of the syllabus and the MCQs later, let me just give you a brief introduction and basics about risk management. Now, when we talk about risk management, we go towards a lot of complex things. There are many qualifications which have come out of these risk management, many profiles of work which are there to be done. So a lot of tools, techniques involved. Before getting into the complexities, if you have the basics strong of risk management, understanding what exactly it is, what are the basics of risk management, it will be really helpful for you in this upcoming session and also in your organization tomorrow where you're working and analyzing risk. That will be really helpful. So here are the first 6 steps in risk management. In fact, rather than steps, I would say question and answers towards these first 6 steps of risk management. The first thing which you need to ask is that what are you here for? What are you going to do this? What are you going to achieve from this? That's your goal setting. You're setting your objective. You're setting your objective that what you want to achieve. So now once you know that what you have to achieve, then the next question which you have is what can be the things which can stop me? What can be the things which can stop me from achieving this particular objective? That is your risk assessment. You are identifying what all are the risks. Now, once you've identified what all are the risks, the next thing is that to what extent can it affect me? The third question is what extent can it affect me? Now, when you are understanding that what effect it can be, whether it will be positive, negative, whether it will be a profitable impact or whether it will be a loss-making impact, you are assessing how much would be the risk with the probabilities maybe. Now, once you've done that you have set your objective, you have identified what the risk is there, you have understood that how much would be the impact of this particular risk. The fourth question which you need to ask is what is the response to it? What do you want to give a response to it? Which is nothing but assessing a risk response. You're putting a response to what the risk which you have seen in the organization. What can be the response to it so that you can mitigate it, so that you can transfer it or something like that. That's the fourth question which you need to ask. Now, once that is done, you have understood that what response you need to do. The fifth thing or the fifth question is, did it work? Because once you have put down those responses, did that response work? Did that strategy which you implemented to mitigate risk or to try to squeeze down the risk, did it work or not? Or how good did it work? So that's nothing but monitoring your risk responses. Now, once that's done, the sixth thing what you need to do is nothing but, again, it is a ongoing cycle. The sixth thing is what else has changed? What else has changed? What else do you need more? What else responses do you want to know about in the organization? Because previously you set your objectives, then you understood that what are the hindrances which will stop me from achieving these goals, and then you assess that how much would be that level of that impact, then you assessed a response to it, then you monitored it. Then the sixth step is again going from the start. What else is there requiring for this particular process? So this is in short the basics of risk management. With these basics of risk management, you can go ahead in organizations, apply it towards more detailed extent by using tools, techniques, data which is there available. Each organization will be having different type of risk which they will be facing. How are you going to manage it? We are going to do it in this particular session upcoming. In this long session we are going to do it. I'll be sharing my screen and I'll be showing that to you. I hope that this introduction and basics is really important. I hope that this introduction and basics was really helpful for you and you have a bit of a ground work done for risk management, and I hope that this will help you for your examination and your organization in which you are going to work. So let's get started with the video. For those people who are watching this video and have not yet subscribed to my channel, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. If you just see, these are the percentage of amount of people who are watching this video but not subscribing to our channel. Just support us by subscribing, like this video, and then proceed forward towards the main session where we go towards the content overview, and then at the last we go towards the MCQ sessions of the CMA. So let's get started with the content. So here we are getting started with the content overview of the risk management. It is 10% of your syllabus and it's going to be completely theoretical. So I'm going to go through the content. We are going to talk about it. We are going to try taking some examples also in it. I hope that you guys have got a lot of clarity over the introductory session, because that is going to be stretched a lot in this particular session. And at the end, we'll be going towards the MCQ sessions. And I hope that you guys are already following up with a lot of content which is being posted on this YouTube channel. And if it is adding value to you, then share this video with those students who are doing the CMA. Like this video, if you're watching it, and then subscribe also to our channel. So let's get started with this content overview. So just taking it further from where we had left it from the introduction, if you see from the previous decades, they have given up a definition about that how the risk management used to take place, where you can see there is some operation let us just see. Okay, insurance groups were there who were used to take care of that hazard risk which were happening, like fire, accidents. Then the information technology group were concerned with security and system risk, whereas the audit function was focused on the inadequate internal control. So those were the types of risk. But as and when it has been progressed, the fragmented approach to risk management is unsuitable to the complex interconnected business environment. So it's not that easy for you to understand that how and where the risk is going to affect, whether it is quantitative, whether it is qualitative. A lot of factors come into picture. So the concept of ERM arose to the address of this current need. If you can see in here, ERM approaches the risk from enterprise-wide perspective. So it's not just one perspective, like, okay, is it the hazard one, physical risk, or is it the IT risk? It is an overall risk. Enterprise risk management is the overall risk which the enterprise is going to face it, and how he can respond to it. Okay, so now they have to make sure that the stakeholders are getting the value of which they are investing in it. Now, if you see in here, the 5 types of risk, which are the hazard risk, which is the physical risk, accidents, or sabotage of the resources of the organization, that would be coming under this hazard risk. Then the financial risk is nothing but the financial losses, the interest rate risk, the exchange rate risk. What would be the changes? What impact would it make financially? Then the operational risk. Now, when we talk about operational risk, it's more of towards, if you can see in here, failures related towards human resources, legal risk, inadequate internal controls, overall operations of the business. You started from sales, purchases, you take it towards human resources. If they are not functioning in the fullest of the manner, in the most optimized structure which is required, if they are not working in that manner, then there is a risk associated with it. And what you need to do with that is create a response for it. Then strategic risk is kind of economic, political risk, which everybody has to face. So you need to have a plan back of your hand all the time, that how we can do. Like, suppose in the 2020 March, the lockdown happened. So that was a risk. What that was a risk which everybody faced it. How did organizations survive at that time? What were the twists and turns which they did in their organizational structure through which they survived that particular pandemic? Then the business risk, which is normally like anticipated profits. Will you get that or not? So as I just said you over there at the start, at the introduction of the video, that what you need to do is nothing but identify the risk. Before identification of risk, I said you the first step is, what do you want to do? When you define that what do you want to do, you actually know that what objectives you want to achieve. And once you know what objectives you want to achieve, then you find out that what are the things which can stop you. Now, what are the things which can stop you? What are the things can be hurdles in your way of achieving your objective? Those are the risks which you need to find out, and that's identifying risk. Now, once you identify the risk, you assess it, that how much impact will it make? Will it make a positive impact? What will it make negative impact? What would be the qualitative impact? What would be the quantitative impact? You need to understand this. Like, suppose the pandemic happened. What type of what were the objectives which you wanted to? You wanted your organization to survive at this particular time. Now, when your objective was to survive, what are the hindrances which are going to come in? The hindrances is like, everybody is affected with the same thing. How can a business model run? How can we change towards the online method? How can we actually do things, or force not force actually, how can we manage our employees remotely? So those were the challenges which came up. Those were the risky factors which came up. Then what could be the impact of it? People leaving, or firing people. What could be the impact of that in the organization? Then prioritize your risk. Understand that how much would be the effect. What are the risk responses which you need to do at first? Okay, that which is more risky, which is less risky, find out which is a bit a higher place, where which one is at a low risky one, so that you can manage your time towards investing and trying to mitigate that particular risk. And then you create a formula, or sorry, not formulate, you formulate a risk response. When you're formulating a risk response, is that what can be done to mitigate that risk, what can be done so that we can transfer that risk, or try being in a safer place, so that the organization can grow and it is not affected with that risk. But understand this, there is always a risk which can give you more reward also. We are not only talking about risk towards the in negative terms, there is also risk which will give you reward also, and that's something else which we are going to talk about it later on in this particular session. Then you need to monitor your risk responses, that the response which you made, is it adding value or not? If not, then you need to change up, you need to change another response, because you are making a risk response so that the organization can grow at large. If not, then you need to change your response. I hope that you guys are following up with me here. Then probabilities of risk exposures, if you just see in here, what is the possibility of things going to happen? What is the probability? Like suppose minor penetration into your systems, what can be the potential loss which you can happen is 1 million, and what is the likelihood of happening is 950,000, so 95%. Unauthorized viewing of internal databases, what is the likelihood of happening? 35% is the likelihood of happening. What can be the potential monetary loss? 50 million. Then you see unauthorized alteration of internal database, what is the possibility of happening? 1%. But what would be the possible impact of it? 2 billion. 2 billion, 1%, you see 20 million can be the loss in here. I hope you guys are getting it. What you're doing here is nothing but putting the probabilities in place to understand that what can be the impact of the loss. Then unexpected loss or maximum possible loss, what can it be? You try to define it, or you try to come up towards it with this probabilities. This is one of the tools of understanding what can be the probable loss. Then coming up towards your risk appetite. Risk appetite is that up to what extent of risk you can take. Now, up to what extent risk you can take is how much you are able to digest, how much you're able to take it towards you, that if suppose this is the loss, still I'm able to survive it, I'll be able to take it further, I'll survive my business. So it depends on organization to organization. There is no standard thing that this is the risk appetite. It depends on organization. Okay, that's strategies for risk responses. Now, what can be the responses towards the risk which we were talking about in the fourth step? If you see here, risk avoidance. Now, avoidance of risk, if you see here, let me just put this somewhere here. Yeah, for now, let me put it here. Risk response ends the activities. This is really, really important. That's why I'm reading this. That's also the reason you guys also need to follow it up here. Risk avoidance ends the activity from which the risk arises. For instance, the risk is having a pipeline sabotage in an unstable region can be avoided by simply selling the pipeline. What you're doing is just avoiding it by a proper mean. Risk retention, you are accepting the risk and you are taking self-insurance about it. Okay, risk retention. Risk reduction is nothing but you are taking insurance in relation to reduce that, or you can see, is the act of lowering the risk associated with an activity. For instance, the risk of system penetrating and reduced by maintaining a robust information security system within the organization. Or you can also say taking an insurance, having a proper internal control, strong system so that nobody can penetrate into it. Or even if they can penetrate, the activity or possibility of it, which will be very low. Then risk sharing, transfer the risk of potential loss, have few partners into it, have shared insurance policies taken into, so that you can share the risk if suppose a problem is going to come in. Then comes risk exploitation, deliberately quoting of risk in order to pursue high return on investment. Examples include wave of internet only businesses that crested in the late 1990s and cutting edge technologies such as genetic engineering. So with that risk, what did happen? People tried and invested a lot. So there were thousands of organizations which actually went towards, started selling through e-commerce, wanted to get into e-commerce. Now, let me just share a few of my school of thoughts, which I can say based on that is, many organizations ventured into it, they saw a potential opportunity, they saw a potential risk,
that we can invest our time here, whether it is going to pay us back or not. They were not 100% sure, but everybody tried putting their efforts into that e-commerce. If you just see in there, you'll find e-commerce like Amazon, Alibaba, eBay. These all are the organizations which you are known about, which you know that, okay, these are the platforms where with the use of internet, with the leverage of internet, they growed a lot. You'll find thousands of organizations, 99% of organizations. You may hear someone or the other who would say that we also tried something, but it did not work out. We also tried doing something, in the 1990s to leverage the internet, and we invested our time, we took the risk, but it did not pay off. Now, why it did not pay off or how it did not happen, now that's my school of thought, that's my understanding about it is, see, if you want to run a business or an organization, it's more of the psychology which runs behind it. It is not just only the tools and techniques, but also the psychology, because at the end of the day, you are selling a product to a customer, and customer is a human. You are not selling anything to a machine. You are selling it to the consumer. And if the consumer is ready to buy, and if the consumer is ready to pay for that particular service or a product, then it is going to run. It is no fancy thing going around, okay, if I invest a lot in tools and techniques to grow a business, that's not going to happen. Like I'm running this particular organization. People will come up to me that, okay, these are the tools and techniques which you need to use to grow your business. Like this Zoom is a tool for me to use in my business. Now everybody has this particular tool, who someone is using it towards a maximum extent and earning a lot from it. Someone is using it towards the minimum extent. Someone is using it towards the average extent. So the tool is there for everyone. It depends on how you're going to use it, and that how you're going to use it is much more important. And that is your content. That is your business model. So you need to concentrate on your business model, which is sellable. You are selling something out it, or you're making money out of it, then it is workable. Nothing like, it's really cool kind of a stuff. I don't think so that's going to work in the market until unless there is a person with that cash, with that money. Oh, yes, I need your service. Yes, I need your service. So that's something which you need to create as an organization. Then only your earning will happen. Then only you'll be able to, manage all these risks. Just that you want to be the best in the market, being the best in the market, sale will come to you. That's never going to happen in the organization. The example which was there just in here when we talked about in the 1990s, where everybody were with the wave of the internet, tried to do many other things. Many of them succeeded. Most of them did not succeed. So I hope that you guys are getting towards that. So the frequency severity matrix, we were talking about that. If the severity is low and the frequency is low, you can retain that risk and try it yourself. But if the severity of the risk is high and the frequency of the risk is also high, try avoiding it. Just finish that particular business. And now let's talk about in between of the things, like, if the severity is high and the frequency is low, you can just share that risk. And if suppose the severity is low and the frequency is high, you can reduce that risk or retain that risk. That depends on organization to organization. Now, also understand this cost benefit analysis. When we talk about cost benefit analysis in understanding a risk response, what is the cost levied for it? What would be the cost which you would be incurring for that particular process? And what would be the benefit you are going to avail from it? You need to calculate these two. If the benefit is more than the cost, then you need to take that up. As simple as that. Okay. Then residual risk or inherent risk. Residual risk is that whether you do anything, that risk is going to be there, and that is the end of that much risk will be there for the organization. Inherent risk is something which is there from the start itself. You have a risk associated with the organization from day one itself, and that's inherent risk. Now, the benefits of risk management, you'll be able to efficiently utilize your organizational resources if you have a proper risk management system going on, running around in your organization, understanding what are the changes happening in the environment, how can you help yourself in growing in this particular environment. Also, no matter what changes are going to happen, you should have a response available with you. You should be on the look of what's happening in the market, what are the changes happening in the market, and try coming up. Like suppose right now, what is the trending thing going on? Like NFTs are trending in the market. Everybody is DMing, messaging. What's your view about it? Shall you invest in an NFT? Should you have a digital wallet, or should you not have it, or this is just a boom which is coming or going to burst up. Many things are there. You need to analyze yourself. Put down your knowledge into it, study about it, research about it, and then take a decision ahead. I hope that I'm making a lot of sense for you guys. Then liability, hazard, risk insurance is something which is the same. Financial risk and management method, it is related towards if you are selling an asset, buying an asset, or future options, contract swaps, which we are going to do in section B. And if you've not yet done, I'm not yet done section B in this particular recording sessions. I'm going to do it after 2 sessions. I'm going to do that. So in there, we are going to discuss about these in detail. So we'll talk about it then. Then qualitative risk assessment tools. Now, qualitative risk assessment tools is depending more of on the education of the employee or the experience of the employees, or what are the experiences which have happened, what are the past experience. Based on that, you will be having this quality assessment of these. Based on that, you will be mapping up that which is more risky, which is less risky. That will be done from it. Now we have the Coso enterprise risk management framework. Really important for your examination. See, this improves decision making and enhances the performance of the organization. Now, Coso full form, remember this: Committee of Sponsoring Organization, where it is Coso ERM framework. So the full form is not given here. So it is Committee of Sponsoring Organization. So they have come up with this particular integrated strategy performance and ERM, because so that they can manage the risk of the organization which they are associated with. Means on a regular basis, you can keep an eye of what are the risks which is happening in the organization. Now, these are so many, kind of, broad terms, but when you go into detail, you'll see like, this is something which is happening on a day-to-day regular basis. We see it in the organization. Like if you see in here, key concept and phrases. Culture, the risk of cultural risk in the organization. Now, what's that cultural risk? If I, term it down into a more normal way, it is just politics happening in the organization. Politics happening in the organization. Who's coming at a time? Who's coming at another time? This is the type of risk which can be there. But let's just take it towards the positive side, that with that culture, this will motivate you to achieve your mission, your vision, and your core values. With that, your capabilities, practices, integrated strategy, setting performance. So in short, with this culture of the organization, if you have a culture in the organization which is making their employees intrinsically motivated is by themselves, they are motivated to achieve all these goals of the organization. If you are making a culture for it, in fact, if you just see in the business and technology paper of ACCA, this is the first paper of ACCA. In that, there's a separate chapter, organizational culture. Now, organizational culture, talking about organizational culture, it's there in the book. But if you go towards YouTube or you're watching this here, right, there are even chances that you will get an advertisement in which an organization is focusing on, I can improve your culture in the organization, or these are the steps which you need to follow to have a good culture in the organization. These are the things which are promoted in an organization. You will have some trainers, professional trainers, motivational speakers coming into organizations so that they can uplift the culture in the organization. Are you guys understanding the importance of culture? Employees will join in an organization or be retained and be there for a longer time in that organization based on the culture of the organization. If the culture of the organization is a bit bad, and if that's bad, then employee will come and they will join, and that is the risk for the organization, and that is dependent on culture of the organization. I hope that I'm making a lot of sense for you guys. Then risk profile, portfolio view, it's understanding that how much are you able to tolerate, how much you are able to take it up to you. That's your risk appetite and your tolerance level towards the losses or towards what can be the problem for you in the long run. That is what is taken care over there. Then managing the risk, we talked about you can put down the risk, you can mitigate the risk, you can transfer the risk. That's related towards managing of that risk. Then the value which is created by an ERM, what is preserved, what is realized, what is eroded, means management strategy does not produce expected results, or the man doesn't perform day-to-day tasks. So that's how value will come down for the organization. overall, I hope that the main context of this risk management is properly delivered from me. This is a revision session, so I cannot go in depth of each and every term. I go in depth of each and every term in the regular class, and I hope that you've already attended the regular class, so you have that clarity and you're brushing up on your skills. And if not, then you guys need to join in one. An audit committee you would be making for the ARM roles, enterprise risk management roles, responsibilities. You're making an audit committee, you're making a risk committee, you're making an executive compensation committee, you're making a nomination or a governance committee, so that things go in line. Okay, management has overall responsibility of for ARM in and into the day-to-day life of day-to-day work of the business, operations of the business. ARM plays a really important role. It's just like, an ERP like SAP, Oracle, D365, these all are ERPs. With that ERPs, you have this particular risk management also, I guess, so that it is integrated into those ERPs also, so that on a regular basis, you'll be having, okay, what is the risk? What is the red flag? What are the things which can trigger a problem in the organization? Try to, try to solve that particular red flag at the earliest. That's something which is to be done. Okay. Now, let's come towards the ERM component. Let me just have some water, and then we get started with the ERM components. The most important thing in this particular chapter is the ERM components. You can expect a lot of questions from it. Okay, just 1 minute, and then we get continuing. Okay, so we are resuming. Okay, now with the ERM components, understand this is something which we have already done at the start of the session. At the start of the session, we went on towards just general basic overview, whereas here a little bit more we'll go in, try to explore more in this particular area. And when we do the MCQ sessions, then we'll have more proper understanding that in what way questions can be asked. It won't be asked most of the time straightforward. You cannot expect straightforward questions in the CMA examination. Maybe very few you may get it. Most of the times it will be twisted, turned, tried. It will put you in a real life situation where you need to come up with some risk response, or you need to identify some risk kind of a stuff. So we are going to do that in the MCQ sessions. But if you're watching it right now, and if you're watching it live, then like this video, put down your doubt in the chat section, and make sure that you share this video with maximum people who are doing the CMA examination or want to learn about the risk management. You can share this video with me. If you have any feedback, you can put it down in the, or put it to me over WhatsApp. My number is there below. Okay. So now with the ERM, we are going to go through the governance and culture, strategy, objective setting, performance, review and revision, information, communication, and reporting. We are going to do that right now. So if you see in here, the Coso ERM framework has 5 integrated components. If you just see in here, they have stated governance and culture and information, communication, and reporting as the supporting aspect of the ERM. And whereas the common are nothing but setting up the strategy, performance, review, and revision. This is something which is properly, you can say it is a bit operational and a bit normal process, common process, which they have said it. Now, to start with the governance and culture, you see the 5 principles. The board will set up an oversight to identify what risks are there. They set up a risk committee to understand that what should be the limitations. If this is going this beyond, then that's a bit risky for us. Now, how do you set that those risk limits for you is depending on the skills, experience, your knowledge, and also depending on how the organization has progressed so far. Now, understanding what organization stands for, what are the biases of the organization is more important in making a decision of what is the board's oversight is nothing but what all are the limits, what all are the things which is risky, but what are the things which are not that risky. You can talk about it. Now, operating structures, legal structure, management structure, you guys can go through this. Size of the organization, which we've just talked about, size of the organization, operations of the organization, how they are going to happen, that matters in there. Now, organizational defines the desired culture. Now, what is the culture which is required? Now, they are talking about 3 things here. If the culture in the organization is a risk seeker, or is it a risk neutral, or is it something which is risk averse? Now, what are these three? Risk seeking is nothing but you would try to go in all in. Maybe if you may get profit or loss, does not matter, but you want to go in all in, you would be seeking risk. Yeah, I always give an example that, risk seeking is something called, you pay $10 and you expect something $100. There is a possibility that you're going to get $100, but what is the possibility? That's a bit less, but still you pay that $10 to get $100. Whereas risk neutral is you give $100, you get back $100. So there's no risk involved in that particular thing. And risk averse is something like you give $100 or you invest $100, you get in return $110. And if suppose you increase that amount, then gradually the return also increases. But if you see with the risk seeker, you pay in 10, you get 100. That's something that's not going to happen. That's what is a risk seeking attitude, which I could talk about. That's a very broad example in which you can take it. It depends on how you set the tone at the top. How do you train the organizational employees on to take a risk and stuff? Then that matters a lot. Like how the organization attracts, develops, and retains capable individuals as and when they want for the organization to function. Like suppose if it is an organization in which you need to keep on taking decisions on a regular basis, so you would want a dynamic personality leading that particular a dynamic personality leading that particular department to take decisions fiercely, not thinking about what would be the negative sides of it, rather than being a bit optimistic, compassionate about what he's doing and taking the right decision so that they can move forward. Rather than you have a person who is thinking too much before taking a decision, analyzing too much before taking a decision, that's not good for the organization, because the more you think about the possibilities, your intention to take a decision will step back. Okay, you need to believe in your gut feeling. You need to believe in your intuition that, okay, yes, I need to go ahead with this particular thing. Now I'm talking about intuition. These are something which are, at the after having a base of calculation, then only you come up with that stuff. Suppose you calculate two particular options of investment, and those two particular options of investment, there's no bigger difference. You need to go with one. So it would also depend on the qualitative factors, but even if the qualitative factors are almost then you need to go based on your intuition, your culture, your values. That will matter a lot in taking a decision. Maybe it is risky or not, or you should be ready for, if suppose there is any repercussions gonna come up with that particular decision, then you should be ready for that also. Okay, as they say, contingent plans should be prepared for it if it's going well or not. Now, strategy and objective setting, it is something which you need to understand that what you want to achieve from this. What is your objective from this particular organization? What do you want from it? You are setting this up. This is something which is a common process in a business context, that what do you want from this business? Suppose you start a business, suppose you're running an organization. The question is, what do you want out of it? What is your objective out of it? You are just setting it. Now, that would be based on your internal environment, external environment. You would be looking into the business context. That's pretty dynamic enough. You need to see it derives with two purposes, like, the purpose of why you are serving this particular organization, why this organization is working, what is the main purpose of this organization which has been working. And there is also profit motive towards it, and some organizations don't work for profit. Those are not for profit organizations. But here is, you need to achieve what is your desired goal. Now, to achieve that desired goal, first of all, you need to set up your desired goal. And that can be based on all the environments, like your internal environment, whether you're able to achieve it or not. Your external environment, will it help you to achieve that or not? What would be your risk appetite while doing that stuff? Like, okay, if this much is the loss, then we'll be able to bear it. We'll be going on. Like suppose Uber is one, we can say a change in the market. Uber has bought a change in the market, but to our surprise, to everyone's surprise, it has not yet started making profits. Uber has not yet started making profits. So till when are they going to survive like this? Till when are they going to survive on the investors funding that money in? it matters a lot. Till when are they going to do it? When are they going to, change up their structure, business strategy, and then move forward? Like suppose if you take this example of Amazon is something which is a marketplace, or just a marketplace, and they'll earn based on the number of transactions happening on it. Whereas the time taken, or the time which will take for Amazon, which has already taken, it's been huge time. It has taken a long time. And then market capitalization, making the customers aware about how things work, how you can order things by sitting at your home, making them habituated to it. It's been a long time doing this. Now, if you see in right now, there are new players coming in the market. Like suppose Nike has come in. So what did Nike do different than Amazon? So they made down that list, that what are the things which are wrong with Amazon. So they found out that there's a big problem about the product quality on Amazon, because anybody can sell it on Amazon. So what did they do at Nike? First, they concentrated on a particular segment of market, and they did not allow any external seller to list their product on their website. So what did they do is nothing but they purchased stuff from the main manufacturer. They purchased it in bulk, they purchased it on discount, and because they have cut down the middlemen and intermediary places, or those what do you call those showrooms, they do not have it. So they are putting it out to the public at a lesser price. So what has happened? They are purchasing it directly from the manufacturer, those branded manufacturers, and they are assuring quality with that. So they did this one right. So what is happening in here? So they are purchasing that product and then selling it with a margin. That's what Nike is doing. That's online business, the online website e-commerce store itself. Whereas with Amazon, they just have a platform. Anybody can come in to list their product, and then anybody can buy in there. So what's happening? That transaction, number of transactions which are happening, they are going to get earning from that. Whereas with this particular organization, which is Nike, they are purchasing thing and then they are selling it. So they are going to get the profit margin out of it, and they are actually expanding. In fact, they went on with an IPO also. It was really successful. I'm not sure what's happening right now in the stock market for that, but still. So how much is your appetite matters a lot. See, I'm talking about Nike purchasing it and putting it in front of the customer. So do you have that much appetite to purchase that much stuff? Are you having that many customers who are there to buy that off from you? It matters from organization to organization. In fact, if you just seen in my previous sessions, I've said that Amazon has come up with what do you call, they have that data in their hand, and with that data they know that which product is selling more, and with which product is selling more, what they are doing is understanding, okay, how do you make that particular product, which product is selling more, they know how to make that product. They'll also know by, they don't need to do those many trial and error research and development. They have all those things in front of them. What will they do? They will take that particular best selling product, make it in their own manufacturing or outsource it to a supplier, get it branded on Amazon name, sell it on Amazon, because they have that platform. They can put it at the top as best sellers, or Amazon's choice, and people will buy it. So those are all the things which goes on. If even if you see it this with the risk item, suppose you are doing very good with the business. In fact, it has happened also with many products at Amazon. You are doing really good in business. When you are doing really good in business, your product is selling very good on Amazon. What is Amazon doing? You are a supplier to Amazon. In short, what is Amazon doing? This product is selling good. Let me do one thing. Let me enter into this particular segment. Let me make this particular product and sell it on my platform itself. So what has happened to you? You are out of the market of Amazon. The customers which were buying your product, they are going to buy some other product which is at a cheaper price, because they have undercut your cost. So what can be a risk response to it? Is that not rely on an external website for your sales when you know that there are a number of sales increasing. Have your own website, sell it from your own website directly. Try having some third party delivery partners and make them deliver that particular product. I hope that I'm making a lot of sense for you all. And if you want to ponder up more on it or want to expand on my discussion, you're free to do it. Let me just move forward now. From this, we can go towards the performance. Like, how are the organizational risk management means up towards the risk? How is this organization performing? Are they going ahead with the new emerging markets? Or what are the risks associated with it? What are the risk associated with the inventory management, whether this inventory will be there or it will be out in the market because more sales sold off. So that's a risk for the organization to understand how much is the demand, and according to the demand you have the stock so that you can deliver it or you can sell it off so that you don't have any losses as such. And also you need to look into the impact of the risk and the likelihood of the risk. In fact, for the impact and likelihood, there should be a green and red lights traffic signal approach also they have put with, I don't think so if it is there here or not. Yeah, here it is. Anything here, qualitative and quantitative, that's fine. Okay, see, this is actually black and white material, that's why it is looking like this. But what it is talking about, the likelihood of the business, this is business objective heat map, the likelihood of a particular risk which is going to affect you and the impact, how much it is. If it is 1, it is kind of greenish, but if you go towards the higher side, it is really red. So it has been inspired by the traffic signal approach, that one by one the impact and the likelihood of happening is less, so you can go ahead, that's not that risky, so that's green, go ahead. If suppose the likelihood and the impact on the business can be 4 of 4, which is actually completely red here, it will be red here. Let me just put it red so that at least in this format. So this is high red here, so red is nothing but stop. That's a red flag. That's something not good for the organization. You need to look out for that. Okay, then later on you need to prioritize risk. If you remember at the start of the session, what did I say? Is nothing but first understand your objective, then identify the risk, then assess the risk. Once you assess the risk, understand what is the impact of the risk. After getting the impact of the risk, what should be the risk response in responding towards the risk, how you should prioritize which one to be done first, which item to be focused first on, which item to be focused on less now, and what factors you do it based on the complexity, velocity, persistence, adaptability, and recovery. Those are the factors on which it will depend. So these are the things which you need to take into consideration in prioritizing in which risk response to give first. That's what you should be prioritizing on. Okay, then moving forward, the risk responses, what you can do is accept whatever the risk is coming your way, retain that risk, or you can avoid it just by removing that particular operation or that particular business. Pursue it. It is nothing but again improve your performance, accept that particular tolerance, and try improving your business process. Reduction, taking insurances, sharing again comes up with the insurances, taking part insurances, having partners for that particular thing. That's the way you do it. And then I hope that till now, risk view, minimal integration, risk category, you guys can go through it. Risk profile, you particle, full integration. Okay, you guys can go through that. Then comes review and recognition. Now review and recognition is something related to when you have identified that risk, when you have prioritized those risks, you have made risk responses. Now is the time that you need to see whether these are working or not. If it is working, well and good. If it is not working, you need to review it. Once you review it, what are the changes to be done in this particular risk responses? If there are changes to be done, if there are changes required in that responses, then you need to make those changes happening. And that's how you revise that particular risk response based on the organization. Now moving on towards information communication and reporting. See, organization leverages its information system to support the ERM, the data, the raw facts are understanding that what are the types of, the risk which can affect the organization, and what can be the timely communication of, okay, this is something which is risky, this is a red flag which is going to come in. Like suppose communication, if suppose you could have, if your organization could have got the communication that it is going to be a lockdown from the March 2020, if that was for real and everybody would have known it at least at least a month ago also, or a few days ago, that yes, it is going to be for a longer period of time and things are going to change like this, they would have tried doing at least a few things changing, because those are the things which I also wanted. I also, if I knew that this is the thing which is going to happen in the next 2 to 3 months at least, then my business process, my things which I planned and what I did would have been completely different. I hope that you also would be having the similar story, that what would have changed, what you would have not done. You could have also thought about it. Okay. Now, moving forward, communicating about the risk, what can it be, and managing a particular strategy for it so that you can counter it. That would have been a thing which would have been done. So now I guess we have come towards assessing ERM and limitations of ERM. You guys can read it. I can pause it for you here. You guys can have a reading of it and go ahead with it, because there's nothing much to be understood in there. Now, what we'll do is we'll go towards the MCQ questions of the risk management. It is 10% of your syllabus. Let's get started with the MCQs right now, right here. Are you guys ready for it? So while we are doing these MCQ questions, make sure that you answer it by yourself at start. These are going to be theoretical questions completely. Answer it by yourself at start and try getting maximum marks out of it. If suppose you are not confident right now, so then stop right now. Don't go towards the MCQs. Go ahead, revise this once again, and go towards the MCQ questions. And also, don't be a bit more cautious that what will happen if I go wrong and all that stuff. See, that is the risk which is there in front of you. You need to create a risk response to it, is by preparing well. That's what I could say. Okay, so now let's get started with MCQ questions. Okay, so we have our first question in front of us. So if you are also answering this with me, put down your score, how much you get out of these 10 questions in the comment section below. I would like to know about that. Okay. Now, a manufacturing firm. Okay, we need to. So short question only. Now we can read it full. A manufacturing firm identified that it would have difficulty sourcing raw materials locally. So it decided to relocate its production facilities. According to Koso, this Coso, I thought say it Koso because Committee of Sponsoring Organization. This decision represents which of the following responses to the risk? Now, what can be the response to the risk in here? Is it a risk reduction? Is it risk acceptance? Is it risk sharing, or prospect theory? Prospect theory is something not at all relevant to this particular question. So I have changed from one place to another place just because I can get my raw materials sourcing, proper and a timely manner. So that should be risk acceptance. Though no, it is not risk acceptance, because you have changed from that place. If you stay in that particular place itself, then that's accepting the risk. And it's also not sharing of the risk, because sharing of risk means that you are taking some insurance or something, but you are not sharing taking any insurance. You are just moving from one place to another. In short, you are reducing your risk. Let's see. Okay. Mitigation, reducing the risk so that it is within the target residual risk profile and risk appetite. By relocating its production facilities, you're reducing your risk. Next question. An entity defines its risk appetite in which component of the Koso ERM framework? So we have just done this. If you guys don't know this, it means that you need to go back and read the material again, read the study context, study text again to get this clarity. Because if you remember, we were talking about the risk appetite while we were setting our objective. And if you see here, strategy and objective setting is there in front of us. So let's just go ahead with that particular option. Yes, that is the answer. I don't need to even see the other options right now because I know where it is. This is a direct questions. direct question which you've got. So there are chances that you will get direct questions also. Let's see how it comes further. Okay, this risk of product failure is best represented of what type of risk to the company. Okay, so they are asking us that what type of risk is this? A company has developed a new technologically advanced paper thin solar panel for residential home use. Okay, very good. The company has decided to start selling the solar panel worldwide in next month. As this is a technologically innovative product, one risk that the company faces to sell the solar panel is possible product failure. Okay, product failure in the sense that functioning of the product can be failed. This risk of the product failure is best represented of what type of risk to the company? Residual risk, is that residual business risk, in operational risk, inherent risk? So I know the answer here. See here, what is he telling is there are chances that the product may fail to work. So you go that solar panel, you put it on your roof, and that may fail. So it's nothing but your operations are failing. Your main essence which you are making, that product itself is failing. That's a possible risk. So it should be operational risk. Now let us just talk about the other options also. Residual risk, it cannot be, because at the end of the day, all of the panels cannot be having that particular risk. Business risk is risk associated with selling that particular product, whether you are able to sell it in the market or not. Inherent risk, it is not an inherent risk because it is not there for all the solar panels going to come in, because there are solar panels which are working. But here they are saying that it is a thin layer which you have made so that you can put it just on the residential purpose. So inherent risk also, it should not be there. It is best fitting. This answer is best fitting for operational risk only. And I'll go ahead with that. Next question. Self-insurance is a synonym for self-insurance. If you are accepting the risk, if you are retaining the risk, that is self-insurance. Whereas transfer nahi, sharing nahi, reduction nahi, retention. Straightforward question. According to Koso, ERM is best defined as, again, they are asking a straightforward question. ERM is defined as the culture, capabilities, and practices that organizations rely on to manage risk in creating, preserving, and realizing value. Oh my God, that's a really good answer. This should be or can be the answer. Next option. A process that takes a control-based approach to an organization. Control-based approach, not ERM. A serial process in which one component affects only the next component. Okay, so it's being a bit rigid, so it cannot be the answer again. A process affected by entities, board of directors, management, and other personnel designated to provide reasonable assurance regarding the achievement of objectives related to operations, reporting, and compliance. Something is missing in this particular option. I don't think so. See, they are talking about operations, reporting, compliances. As for what I think so is we should go with A. B and C are out of the picture here. Let's see. Yep, it is. You guys can read this if you want to pause and read it. Till now, I hope that you guys have got good marks only. Next. According to the Coso, which component of ERM addresses an entity's operating structure and core values? Entities operating structure and core values. If you remember, what did we talk about? Oversight, risk oversight. When will we do it? While we are doing governance and culture. Strategy, objective, no. Governance and culture, that's a support activity. We'll have that risk oversight. Yes. Next, which of the following are supporting aspects of Coso ERM framework? What are they? First and last, we just did it. Governance and culture, information, communication, and reporting. ICR, IRC, and governance and culture. Straightforward questions. That's why I'm not reading other options. Then, which of the following is considered a quantitative risk assessment technique? Interview is a qualitative assessment technique, no doubt in that, because you cannot quantify the interview. Self-assessment questionnaires, again, is qualitative. You cannot quantify it. Benchmarking, you can quantify it. You can quantify it because you can benchmark that this is the number of sales which we need to achieve. Okay, so you can quantify it. Stress testing, how much is the stress in one mind? Can you test it? No way. So option I'm ticking C. If we have this explainer of going on with these options, then it's really easy for us to do it. But in your main examination, you are going to do it alone. So you need to practice a lot. These questions, you guys need to practice a lot. Next, risk associated with the project will increase in direct proportion to all of the following except the. It looks like a one-liner question, but it is not. Risk associated with the project will increase in direct proportion to all of the following except. So risk will increase with the volatility of the cash flows associated with the project. Yes. If the cash flows are going good, the risk will be less. If the cash flows are not going good, then the risk will be more. So it will go in direct proportion, up or down. Okay. Uncertainty surrounding the impact of federal regulation on the project. Yes, if the federal regulation is being good to our business process, then risk will be associated directly with the organization. So option A, option B are yes. So it does not come under the except the thing which they're talking about. It does not come under that. So A and B cannot be the answer. Then capital adequacy of the organization. Capital adequacy of the organization is nothing but the structure of that capital of the organization. The structure of the capital of the organization, the risk will be proportional towards the debt and equity ratios or something like kind of stuff. I don't think so. Then duration of the project. Is the risk associated with the duration of the project, that how long the project goes? Yes, it will be. So option A and B and D are going in line with the risk associated. So which option is not going in line is the capital adequacy of the organization. And I actually don't have that 100% assurity, but the A, B, and D options cannot be the answer. That's what I'm agreeing. So C should be the answer. Yes, it is. We are having this much of explanation. That's why we are able to come up with this particular answer. Next. A company identifies supply chain risk as part of its ERM. After identification of this risk, the company wants to determine how much of an impact this risk could have on its objectives. Its risk assessment should focus on. So where you should focus on your risk assessment. Company wants to determine how much of an impact this risk could have on its objectives. Should you do your focus should be on inherent and residual risk? Only expected events, cut it off, cannot be the answer. Residual but not inherent, external but not inherent. So it is telling this, not that, this or not that. That's not fitting in the answer for me. But what I can say is that after identification of this risk, the company wants to determine how much of an impact risk could have on its objective. So they should go ahead by focusing on inherent and residual risk both, rather than on one, because you do not have 100% clarity of what risk it can be. So you should focus on both. What I think so. Yep, it is both. So now we have come towards the end of this session also. I hope that you guys have got immense clarity in this particular session, and this session was highly helpful for you. And if it was, then just like this video, share this video with those students who are doing the CMA. If you're watching us for the first time and new here, then subscribe to our channel. If you've watched this particular session till here, then Support us by sharing this video, or what else you can do by supporting us. You can do that if you found valuable, then share the word, increase our subscribers, share it with your friends, put down your suggestions, comment on this video. What else you can do? So thank you very much for joining in. I'll see you in the next session, and I need a lot of likes on this video. I would not quantify it. I'm just putting it on a qualitative basis, that you should get more quality likes on this particular video, so that it gets suggested to more people. And what else can I say at this point? Anything associated with the risk? Yes, the part 1 sessions are going to come in only when these videos cross 1,000 watch hours. Then these I'll put down the part 1 videos for sure. Okay, thank you very much for watching this. See you guys in the next session.